What's up, y'all? I've kind of made a couple joke videos about this channel, about streaming on Dragon Ball Legends, but I always tend to get into things like this. I'm always kind of curious about like how do I facilitate building the blocks to make a streaming channel. My son was like, "You can't be a Dragon Ball Legends streamer," and so I kind of like uploaded those last two videos, just proving to be like, I can chuck some graphics left and right and let's go. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how I got those these graphics to the left and the right of my screen. One thing what you're seeing right now is the actual streaming UI. But if I push this, you can kind of see my whole desktop, and you can see OBS open here, and you can see my phone open here. There's a program called SCR CPY that I'll put a link in the description. I found it through another video that was like, how do I stream my phone or whatever. But basically, when you're running this application, you're running your phone, and then you put your phone into USB debugging mode. You need to jump through a couple hoops to enable like developer mode, but then you run this program and it basically connects to your phone, and then you can see like when I'm on my phone, like it's mirrored on my screen, and that seems to be the way that you do that for that kind of thing. So oops, I don't want to close that. Let me minimize this. Right, so one of the things I want to talk about is how do you set up those kind of sources when you're looking at a streamer that might be playing a game online, and they've got this Android 18 kind of thing over here and an Android 17 thing over that way. I've seen some people that like have dope animations, like Ryudan and stuff, like has like really dope animations, and then during the gameplay, they've got static images, and maybe that's intentional. Maybe they don't want to distract from the actual gameplay. They want to keep it kind of focused on like what's happening on the screen and whatnot. And to me, I was like, yeah, that's cool, but I also am kind of curious, like, how would I capture these kinds of animations? So I'm going to walk through kind of how I get one of those. So um, there's a program. I'm going to open a new window here. If you search for screen to GIF, uh, screen, the number two in GIF, you'll get to screen2gif.com basically. This is this utility. Download it and run it. I'm not going to walk through like how to install it or whatever, but I've basically got it running here. And so this is a kind of a cool program where you launch it. I mean, it's useful in so many different aspects, like when I'm making PowerPoints or when I'm doing things, I'm trying to train people at work or whatever. You kind of put this little recorder wherever you want, and then you hit record, and then you can do things. You can like drag in here, and you can like move things around, and you can like right click, like make a folder, like whatever. And then when you hit stop, it spits out this playback of it. Basically recorded your screen, like all the little things that I did in that session. You can even see like it does a little, like it puts a little white nub like where I click and stuff. Like it's interesting, but for our application, it doesn't really matter like what's like the mouse motions or whatever. But know that you could use it if you ever want to capture a GIF. If you're ever like watching a YouTube video and you want to send it as a GIF on Discord, fire up screen to GIF, capture it. It doesn't record the sound because it's making a GIF file, but I'm sure that you can find useful applications for this in your day-to-day life. So anyway, when I'm in here, once I have this application that shows my phone on the screen, I don't necessarily even need to interact with my phone unless it goes to sleep and I need to like put in the pin code to like awake it. I can also just use my mouse and like, so in theory you could play the game with your mouse, and you can see like where I'm clicking on the screen, but you can also like hide the cursor or whatnot. But for the sake of this video, let's talk about characters. And so let's say you've got a favorite character. If I sort by power level, these are kind of the strongest characters that I have. I'm new to the game. I don't have the greatest characters in the world. I've really been leaning on this free-to-play Android 18. I got this one in a lucky draw. I've got a Gohan. What am I filtering to? If I unfilter, this Gohan is probably my strongest character. 14 starred. I was hoping for the fucking cell, but I never got it. I got this guy over and over and over, so there he is. But let's say you want to take this kind of sparking Gohan animation and you want this to be, again, like when you're streaming, when you're playing and you're like, hey, I'm in the middle of the screen, I'm doing this kind of thing, like I'm playing over here. You've got these kind of side banners that, obviously, because it's a cell phone game, you got to sandwich it amongst something interesting on YouTube, and so this is a way that you can do that, right? So again, let me switch back. I've got a couple hotkeys on my Stream Deck that pop between these, but like, so let's say Gohan's the one you want to use. You want to click, obviously, to like, you don't want this stuff to be showing up down there, so you click, you get it to the point where it's animating, and then you pop open screen to GIF, right? And you open up the recorder, you set it. It doesn't need to be perfect. Like, you know, if I do it like this and I record too much of the border over here, I don't want that. I don't want it to get this green area up here, or the black area up there, sorry. So, you know, you just kind of get the GIF, the window, you kind of arrange it how you want it, and then you kind of just watch the animation for a sec. It looks like there's this blue thing that's kind of bursting out of here. There's this gold. It's not a super long animation. Honestly, it's probably 30 frames or 60 frames or something like that. So what you do is you kind of just wait for one of those animation cycles. You hit record, kind of hang out for a sec, hit stop. You don't need to do it for like, you know, 20 minutes or whatever. It's pretty basic. And so once you have this captured, you can blow up the screen, you can zoom in or whatever. And then what you're looking for in this is just something that loops, right? So here I've got frame 1. You know, you can shift click to select multiple frames or whatever. I'll get to that in a sec. But honestly, what you do is you kind of start at frame 1 and then you use your arrow keys and you step through it and you kind of just look at the animation. You just kind of watch it one time and you're like, okay. So there's something going on with this shape right here, where you can see this shape kind of, there's two forms of the shape. There's the shape collapsing in on itself, and I'm going backwards through time. So, you know, if I played it forward, it would be expanding out, but I'm just, you know, you can use the left and right arrow keys to kind of step through frames here. But what I'm looking for is there's one where it's like there's this sparkle going on in the background, and that's the beginning of the animation. And then there's another one that doesn't have the sparkle, and then it sparkles again, and then it doesn't have the sparkle. So kind of look at the whole, like the animation as a whole. But what I'm looking for here is like, okay, so this is the beginning of the sparkle animation, and I'm looking for a frame that I can reference. So let's just say, looking at this ear in the background, right? If I really zoom in on this right here, and I'm looking at this, and I'm kind of like, I'm just looking for like, there's you can see like as I step through and I step forward, there's one frame where this triangle kind of really happens behind his ear. I don't know how else to explain it, but like it's not there, it's not there, it's not there. Bang, it's there. There's this clear line of this like triangle right here. And so I'm going to say like, okay, that's going to be the beginning of my animation, which happens to be frame 3 for me, right? So I'm going to select all the previous frames, and I'm going to delete them. I'm going to shift select those frames, I'm going to delete. So now this is my first frame, where again, I can't step backwards now because I deleted the garbage before that. But this is what I'm setting as my marker point. And then I go through the animation, it moves up, right? We move into the second cycle of the animation. So this is kind of the sparkly one. You can see that there's all that sparkle happening as it moves up. And then there's kind of a normal animation that happens. And then there's a sparkly animation that happens, right? So again, I'm looking for that triangle. Not there. Here. Right? So I'm going to say this is my frame. Now, if I look at frame 80 and I look at frame, let's go back to the beginning again. Those are the same frame. So I actually don't want frame 80 to be my I don't want to go from frame 1 to frame 80. I want to go from frame 1 to frame 79, because then frame 80 is what naturally becomes the next loop, right? So I'm going to say, okay, so let's stop right before frame 80. let's cut this off. So I'm going to select from frame 80 until the end. Shift select, delete, right? And then I'm just going to watch my animation. I'm going to go up to playback. I'm just going to hit play. And I'm just going to kind of watch it. There's no hiccups. There's nothing weird. That's my animation. It's perfect, right? Okay. So, and again, like, it doesn't have to be his ear that you're looking at. You could be looking down here at his fingers, and you're looking at, like, or you're looking at this spark from the time that the spark appears until it disappears, you know, or whatever you can key off of. It doesn't really matter. Like, you can pick anything. You can look at this rising line, this horizontal line, wait till it gets to his chin, wait till it gets to his chin, wait till it gets to his chin, just whatever stands out to you in the animation as itself. And so now we've got a perfect loop, right, that's playing through. So what I want to do is I want to go File, I want to go Save As. I want to save it as a, I'm going to name this Gohan on my desktop. I want to save it as a video. If I save it as a GIF, it brings up this, like, how many colors do you want in the GIF, and it starts to do this, like, color banding back here that looks really ugly. So I'm going to save it as a video because I don't care what the file size is. I've got a beefy computer that can handle, like, playing these animations in the background as I'm also playing the game, and so I don't really care if you are concerned about that, or you're trying to, like, limit the bit rate for your streaming or whatever. You could look into lowering this value or whatever. I just don't care. I'm just showing you how I did it, right? So I save it as Gohan on my desktop, save, right? Full frame. I'm not compressing. I'm not doing anything. I want the full value of what screen to GIF saw, right? So now when I open that file, here it is. It's an AVI file. I can open it in VLC or whatever, right? Here it is. It looks nice. I can loop it. I could loop it somehow in VLC. I don't care how, you know, but whatever. So there's my item that I want to have on the left or right hand side of my screen, right? So the next thing to do, I'm going to dump it in a folder, which I have on my L drive in my streaming, etc. Right? So I've got these other things that I'll show you in a sec, right? So let's say Gohan, and let's say I want him on the left-hand side. Sure, what, you know, whatever. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into OBS, which you see open here, right? And I'm going to add a new media source, and I'm going to say Gohan left, right? I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to browse for that file, which is on my L drive under streaming. Gohan L. Hit OK. I'm going to loop it, right? And I'm going to hit OK. And now here's my looping AVI file, right? So the next thing that I want to do is I want to understand where's my phone, right? So I'm going to turn on my phone. I'm going to go to, like, phone mode here in my OBS. And I'm going to say, like, yeah, I want it on the left-hand side. I want to blow it up a little bit. Make them look dope. I like that little, like, it snaps kind of. You see that it snaps to the, it's like a 10 pixel snap or whatever to the, this is my phone right here. Like, if I'm screwing around on my phone, you can see that this is where I'm, like, playing the game. And then this is where I've got Android 17 over on this side. I want Gohan to be looking dope over on this side. So maybe like a, if I want to center him, like if I have space to move him, but it's, like I've still got space over here. If I want to move him over this way, I can hold down Alt and I can crop this direction, you know, or whatever. I can be like, oh, that little towel that he had, like, what is this? Piccolo's, he's like taking off his towel or whatever. You just figure out a good place that you're like, okay, that's dope. Let's do that. And then I move him in the background so he's behind my webcam, and then I turn off the left-hand side. And then I lock him into place so I don't accidentally grab him and move him around or whatever in OBS. And then that's my left-hand side Gohan. Next video I'll talk about how I do, like, hotkeys so that I can, like, enable the Gohan. Because right now I would have to go in here and I would have to, like, hide this one and show this one, or hide this one and show this one. I have keys set up on a Stream Deck that allow me to pop through these. For ones that I have. I don't have one set for Gohan because I just added him, but this would be the manual process. I would, like, hide Goku show Gohan, and then if I showed somebody above him, like if I show this, which is technically above Gohan, it'll cover it, and so that's where the hotkeys come into play. Where like when I show this, I want to hide this so that there's not like, oh, this is too high. I'm showing this thing at this level, but the thing down here is still being shown. Like no matter what level they are, it's like I'm going to show this thing down here, and I'm going to hide this thing up here so that it shows through. And so that's what I have right now in these buttons. I can like hide various scenes and show other scenes. My phone is going to sleep. But yeah, this is kind of how you capture the GIF and put it somewhere as a looping scene, and then we'll talk about how to do the keybinds next.